What started as a reported suicide has turned into a murder investigation after police say one man staged his wife's death as a suicide. And folks gathered in Hazard and places across the region to continue the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And after a brief break, showers back in the forecast late tonight and tomorrow. The latest timing from Future View coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Just last month, a Breathitt County couple tied the knot, but yesterday the husband was arrested on murder charges in relation to the death of his new wife. WYMT's Alyssa Williams spoke with law enforcement and the victim's family to learn more about how all this unfolded.
On Saturday morning, 62-year-old Barry Johnson of Breathitt County called police saying that his wife, 39-year-old Tammy Thorpe, had fatally shot herself. But once officers were on the scene, they say they knew that was not the case.
And I discussed it with my deputy when he got there, and we both agreed that just something had been tampered with, and that's how it fanned out.
Law enforcement did not get to question Johnson again until Sunday, when he reportedly confessed to shooting Thorpe while she was sleeping.
He wasn't even crying or nothing. It was like he was happy or something.
Breathitt County Sheriff John Holland says law enforcement has been called to Johnson's home before due to domestic violence claims, although no charges were filed.
The last year or two, maybe we'd been there on a domestic issue with maybe a prior wife or girlfriend, one of the best I can remember.
Now Johnson is being charged with murder, tampering with evidence, falsely reporting an incident, and wanton endangerment because a small child was in the room when the shooting took place.
Well, Mr. Johnson was lodged in the Kentucky River jail yesterday, and his bond is set at $1 million, and I'm sure he'll be arraigned here shortly, within the next week or so.
Thorpe's family says she was truly a light in their lives, who loved her family more than anything.
We are not going to quit. We will be at every court hearing. We will do everything we can to advocate for Tammy. She is going to get justice.
In Breathitt County, Alyssa Williams, WYMT Mountain News.
Breathitt County Sheriff John Holland says although they cannot reveal Johnson's motive, he says more things will come to light as this case moves toward trial. One Wise County, Virginia family is without a home after a weekend fire. On Saturday afternoon, members of the Big Stone Gap Fire Department were dispatched to Cumberland Avenue for a house fire. When firefighters arrived, they found flames coming from the garage and front and back of the home. While no one was home when the fire started, officials say the family who lived there lost one of their pets in the blaze. Officials say the Red Cross is helping the family find a place to stay. No other injuries were reported. Wayne County police arrested 4 people in 3 separate cases of reported theft. On Friday, Monticello police were called to Walmart by store security personnel who had reportedly caught 52-year-old Karina Hatfield and 21-year-old Mercedes Hatfield trying to steal items from the store. On Saturday morning, officers were called back to the store on another shoplifting complaint. This time, 47-year-old Brandy Upchurch was arrested. Saturday afternoon, police served a warrant on 23-year-old Brandon Smith, who's believed to be involved in the recent theft of building materials from a Wayne County home. All 4 were taken to the Wayne County Detention Center and were charged with theft by unlawful taking. Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife officers are investigating an elk poaching case in McCreary County. Officers say a department employee found an elk carcass on January 13th near Middle Ridge Trail in the Beaver Creek Wildlife Management Area. The elk was one of the 40 moved to McCreary County last winter from other counties. Elk hunting is prohibited in that county. A $2,500 reward is being offered for information that leads to a conviction in this case. Crews in Laurel County received a call this weekend that ended with a hiker being rescued and then flown to a hospital. Just before 11 a.m. yesterday, officials with the London Laurel Rescue Squad were called to the Falls City Road area after getting a report that a 65-year-old woman had fallen on some ice in a creek. When crews arrived, they found the woman and figured out she had a possible broken bone. She was brought out of the woods and then taken to a hospital by helicopter for her injuries. We do not know her identity or current condition.
A chilly day throughout today. Not so much as we head into this evening. We'll continue to see some showers work into the mountains as we head later on into tonight. A look outside right now from at least the front door here at WYMT. The road surface is dry, and at least on our front parking lot, and temperatures remaining mild, actually near 50. 46 in Moorhead, watching a little bit of, well, watching some sort of traffic activity there. So it looks like some sort of backup there on Interstate 64 near Moorhead. Something to watch if you're headed up that way as we head over the next little while. Some showers, yes, falling in that region right now. Really, that whole western tier of counties from Rowan down to Menifee into portions of Powell, Estill, Lee, Wolf, now into Breathitt County, a few showers. Northern Owsley, Jackson, Rockcastle, into parts of Laurel County, now into Whitley County as well, and back into Pulaski County. Plenty of shower activity. It's all light at this point. In fact, most of it continues to be on the lighter side. Temperatures in the upper 40s to near 50 now. We're falling into the 40s later on tonight. The details in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. People are celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day across the region, and this morning Hazard Community and Technical College hosted its annual MLK Community Breakfast. WYMT's Olivia Calfee has more on the meaning behind the event and of this day.
Today is a day of reflection and gratitude, self-evaluation, and self-accountability.
The third Monday of January each year is a day dedicated to bringing people together in unity and honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Today means to me, means change, means unity, it means that fellowship. It means carrying on Dr. King's dream.
A dream that began in front of thousands of people in 1963 and is still carrying on across the nation.
It just inspires me, I want to say, really. It makes me feel motivated to get down and work every day for the things I've been trying to work for.
All because Dr. King wanted to see a change and decided it was his job to be the change.
Anything is possible if you believe and you're willing to work for it.
Because everything begins with a dream.
Everything is, it's all here. This was someone's dream. The jacket you're wearing is someone's dream. The piano is someone's dream. My watch, my shoes, this stage, this building. Someone envisioned it, they made a plan, and they got to work on it, and here we have it.
Reminding us that each day is a new opportunity to change the world.
That was Olivia Calfee reporting. In 1983, Congress passed legislation that eventually became a law designating the third Monday of January as the Martin Luther King Jr. National Holiday. In 1995, Congress designated the holiday as the first and only federal holiday to be observed as a National Day of Service. The NAACP of Richmond held its annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. March this afternoon, but this year's was different. It focused on the growing homeless population in Madison County. Michael Harrington is with the Madison County Tenants Union. He says homelessness is on the rise, partly due to an increase last year in eviction filings.
A 26% increase over the course of 1 year in eviction filings.
Harrington says he sees the work the organization is doing with housing as a direct connect to Martin Luther King Jr.'s work. Before the community's march today, a clothing drive was held to help the homeless. Voices came together in Danville today in both song and spoken words to honor the life of Dr. King. Hundreds of people gathered in Boyle County for a march through downtown and a program at a local community center. That program was standing room only. Danville's mayor says ever since the nation recognized Martin Luther King Day as a holiday, they have always had an event.
In a community like Danville, Kentucky, I stress the importance of local, common, everyday citizens becoming more and more unified in the things that we do.
Activities in Danville will continue tonight at 7 with a program at the Norton Center for the Arts at Center College. Letcher Countyans celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy this morning with a march to unite. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to participants who say they are continuing Dr. King's mission.
Marching down the street, Letcher Countyans were united in celebrating the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Today marked the 21st Community March and the first in several years.
It's a little casual today, but there's still a good feeling and a lot of energy here from people who are committed to standing up for rights of anyone in the community.
They walked up the hill to Kane Kitchen, where participants sat for discussions and a meal. Those discussions involved diverse generations and races.
In our area, there's not many black families, and if we'd have had to do this on our own, we wouldn't have been able financially or physically to be able to do it.
The Cowan Community Center started the tradition along with Steve Peake's church, and the stories from older generations put life into a different perspective for those who are younger.
Knowing that my parents grew up during the civil rights era and just knowing that issues are resurfacing again today, it's kind of shocking because I honestly expected us to be progressed a lot more than we have.
That is a big reason for their continued action, combating racism and prejudice.
Yes, Dr. King was very active in the 1950s and 60s, and now here we are in the 2020s, and we're still needing, to do a lot of work around social justice issues.
They were not just honoring Dr. King amongst themselves, but also on Zoom with others across the country. In Whitesburg, Chandler Wilcox, WYT Mountain News.
Cowan Community Center Director Valerie Horn says she hopes the community will be able to return to hosting the march as an annual event. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell released a statement today to honor Dr. King. He posted to Twitter saying, quote, "Today we honor an American hero, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His dream of equal justice and abundant opportunity inspired our nation to make historic progress and continues to make us better to this day." Governor Andy Beshear participated in Lexington's march today. In a post on social media, he said, quote, "Today I marched alongside Kentuckians to honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Small steps can turn into miles of progress, and I am committed to listening, learning, and taking intentional steps to bring meaningful change. Together we can create a better Kentucky for all," end quote. Eastern Kentucky native PG Peoples visited Coach John Calipari and the UK men's basketball team today to talk about the legacy of Dr. King. Calipari posted this photo on his Twitter page. Peoples is originally from Lynch and is a leader of the Lexington Urban League.
Well, rain showers moving back in later on tonight, but they won't stick around for long. The very latest coming up after this. And
we'll have a preview of my sit-down issues and answers interview with Somerset Mayor Alan Keck, who's also one of the more than a dozen candidates running for governor.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen.